A way to make a living. Crypto is on the rise, making that dough in the crypto paradigm. Watching it go, buying low, selling high. Riding the wave, I'm here to stay, living in the digital age. No banks, no fees, just decentralized. It's crypto paradise. Ooh. No banks, no fees.
Alrighty, good morning from Paradise Surfers. Happy Friday, December 5th. I am back from vacation. Feeling okay about it, sort of wish I still was in the 85 degree and sunny weather, but, hey, such is life. Back in the cold and dreariness of, the East Coast here, but a lot happened in the week I was gone. I mean, we had Bank of America recommending that investors add 4% Bitcoin allocation. You had Peter Schiff and CZ going at it. You have Bitcoin dumping, Bitcoin pumping. Tom Lee going out saying $62,000 ETH price prediction if everything goes according to plan in a presentation he gave. And I probably missed about 10 stories that also happened over the past week, but I guess that's why they say that a week in crypto feels like a year. And that's especially true when you actually step away for a week and you're like, holy crap, look at everything that happened. Anyway, how have you been, Nick? Have you been monitoring the charts, monitoring the stories? Anything that jumped out at you over the past week worth mentioning here?
Yeah, I mean, doing good. We're off the low for Ethereum and Bitcoin at least. Alt's still not doing too much, so nothing too exciting there. But, Nate and I did a couple live shows. We had some couple shows that had technical issues, so we've been trying to get some content out to you. But if we look at the charts here, Ethereum is back above $3,000, which is always a good feeling. Obviously, a long way to go before altcoins really catch a bid or any other layer 2s catch a bid. We have seen that when Ethereum went to the second retest down here of 2,735, that Pulse Chain and some other layer 2s actually went to like new all-time lows for the cycle move. So they have rebounded on this recent rally. Pulse Chain was up something like 10%, PLSX was up 15%, INC was up 20%, PTGC was up 25%. So big rallies off this low, but still such a far cry from greatness for a lot of the layer 2s and altcoins, as Ethereum is still in the sideways momentum. But there is some hope here. Todd Butterfield gave a buy down here off this bullish divergence and the oversold technometer, so that's good. We had Paul DeMark saying that the low was in for Ethereum right around these same levels. And we have Thomas Lee now saying that he believes the low is in. This was a bullish retest here, and we are going to continue higher, and we're not going to go below $2,630 on Ethereum for the remainder of this cycle. He didn't rule it out for next bear market, but he is with us now and says that he believes this is an extended market cycle. Now, what's crazy about Tom Lee and some of these guys, I've been calling for a 5-year cycle. I've kind of convinced Crypto Amaru that, hey, we're going higher. We're not ending. The cycle's not over with this top that we had back here in October. But now you have DeMark and Thomas Lee and Grayscale and some of these guys now calling for what they're calling a super cycle, where you're going to extend and the high's not going to actually happen until towards the end of Trump's term, which would be pretty wild. I'm not going to go with that just yet. Let's just say I don't think the cycle is over. We're going to get new highs on ETH and Bitcoin. Altcoins are going to have at least a 3-month alt season before the end of 2026.
Well, if it's up to Tom Lee, he's going to single-handedly make sure that the low of 25 or 26 over the past month stays the low. I mean, that guy has been buying seemingly $100 million, $150, $300 million. Every other day I'm seeing reports of them continuing to deploy capital. If that's not conviction, I don't know what is. I watched a few clips of his presentation he gave at one of the conferences. And his base case for Ethereum, I think by early 26 was something like $6,000 to $7,000. His bull case, if Ethereum kind of tracks, and we talk a lot about this, tracks the historical ratio of Bitcoin to ETH, is $22,000. And then if he's saying if ETH goes on the super cycle and we get mass tokenization of stocks, and tokenization of real estate and stable coins become sort of the de facto means of money transfer around the world, you could be looking at over time a $62,000 ETH price prediction. Though obviously that's unlikely to happen in the next 12 months. But gosh, if he's even like a fraction of the way correct, don't you just have to hold here and watch this asset class continue to mature?
Well, and it's nice to see that these people are hopping on the train. Let's just say they're following our footsteps. Remember, I made the prediction of $22,000 35 Ethereum due to the Bitcoin ratios about 2 months prior to Thomas Lee coming out and saying 22,000 because his quant is looking at the same ratios that I quoted. So maybe I should be his quant. I don't know. But anyways, looking at Ethereum here and wanting to be altcoin degens like we are, and my gosh, it's been painful. And we've made money on Pulse Chain and gave it back, and we made money on BNB and gave it back, and we've done this and done that. Look at this ratio. This is when we told you to go all in on Ethereum, where I said you could sell all your Bitcoin and go into Ethereum if you want. I think Ethereum is going to outperform Bitcoin the remainder of the cycle, and I still think it is going to continue to outperform. Look where that was. That was 94% ago. Meanwhile, Bitcoin is up, I think, a 2x, and Ethereum is outperforming that even by 94%. But we're breaking above these moving averages. And why is it important, or why is it crazy? If you get a daily close above this red line here, this is the longer-term moving average 300-day. If you get a close above that on the daily, and we can keep momentum. Look what happened the last 2 times that happened. The last time was all the way back here when we went all in. We went above the yellow, we went above the red, and then boom, exploded higher. This was, if you look, also a mini alt season. This is where we made about a 6x on PTGC. This is where we launched Surf at 10,000 market cap and went to 3.6 million. This is where BNB went to new all-time, started working towards new all-time highs. Okay, so that's a good thing. And then we came down here, and then boom, we went above it again. What happened? Explosion to the upside. So now we are at the same stage right here that we were here and we were here. And on both those occasions, we saw massive FOMO and a massive impulsive move higher as we broke out above these levels. I'm indicating that with the green line here, and look where we're staging here. So if we get any kind of tailwinds going, if Thomas Lee, they've been buying 50,000 Ethereum per week every week. They say they have now doubled that because they believe the Ethereum low is in. They're going to be buying 100,000 ETH every week. If they can get their MNAV to flip from discount to premium, either BitMiner or SharpLink Gaming, they get more funding and they're going to dump it all into Ethereum, creating the Ethereum Bitcoin chart that is going to absolutely moon. This is what we want to see for altcoins to have a chance, for marketing services at Crypto Paradise to have a chance, for you guys to get pre-sale opportunities, ICOs, inside alpha. You need altcoin season. Without it, we're all at the whim of Ethereum, we're all at the whim of Bitcoin, and we're just kind of floundering with the market with our long-term hodl bags, and there's no real excitement or dopamine going on in the markets.
Yeah, I don't know if we get the dopamine and excitement up until Fed starts the QE. We know they ended the QT, and they've continued to engage in what I've been calling shadow QE by injecting some 126 billion into the banking system. So that is, essentially, that's QE by a different name. And I think that has helped buoy the market here over the past couple days. You did see Bitcoin make a nice move to above, where is that, 90,000 or so now, and Ethereum above 3,000. So that's been helpful, no doubt about it. But to get an alt season, to get really those explosive, crazy, risk on, everyone's talking about it, everyone's pouring money in from their Robinhood account over into crypto to buy Doge, and to buy whatever meme's hot, and buy their chain link and their altcoins, etc. You really do need a risk-on environment. You need easy money to come back, and we're just not quite there yet. We had the QT ending. Rate cut is in 5 days now. That's another nice thing about vacation. It kind of like, wow, time just flew by. It's already almost December 10th, and I was just hanging on the beach for a week. So we got 5 days till the rate cut. But then the real story here for alts is, when does the QE start? And I think they're going to have no choice but to start here relatively soon, similar to 2019 into 2020, because the labor market is looking terrible. Terrible, terrible, terrible. We've been saying that for a long time. It continues to get worse. The Fed has to step in. They have to save the economy. In order to do that, they need to put money back into it. And I believe that's going to happen sometime in early 2026. And then we'll finally have the glorious alt season we've been waiting 2 years for.
Yeah, and we look here at Poly Market. Remember when we first started telling you that we thought a rate cut was inevitable? It was like a 40-something% chance of happening. Now it's up to a 93% chance of a 25 BPS cut, a 1% chance of a 50% cut, a 50 basis point cut, and only an 8% chance of a no change. So hopefully the Fed does what they need to do here in 4 days. This will be another interest rate cut, another bullish mark for easy liquidity, which helps risk on assets and collectibles, of which Bitcoin, crypto, Pokemon cards is all part of that, which is what we talk about on the show. And again, it doesn't happen overnight. It doesn't happen right away, but this will be the third cut, which means interest rates are going down, which means capital is cheaper. Your mortgage is cheaper. Your credit card debt is cheaper. Your car loan is cheaper. And when everything is cheaper, you have a little more expendable income, which can go into investments or collectibles, which is what the market really needs to see. Retail come back to the market, because right now there is absolutely zero retail. We have these prices. Ethereum still hasn't gone to a new all-time high in 5 years. It's sitting at $3,000, while institutions, Tom Lee, SharpLink Gaming, etc., are dumping in hundreds of millions and billions of dollars into buys on scarce digital assets, and the prices are still down here because no retail and no retail FOMO. It's as simple as that. So hopefully these interest rates cuts come in December, January, March, April. We get a new Fed chair in May, and we have QE well on the way before that ever happened, and that can get retail some disposable income, some investable income, and it finds its way into crypto like it has cycle after cycle. At the same time, let's also hope that Trump gives out that $2,000 stimulus check, because last time we got the $1,200 stimulus check, that was literally full ported into Bitcoin on Coinbase.
It's all going to happen. It's all going to play out exactly as we predicted, due to labor market weakness and due to the fact Fed must support the economy to stave off a recession. The only question in my mind really is how much money flows into Bitcoin, altcoins, ETH, Solana, degen plays versus how much flows just into AI plays in the stock market. You know, AI, obviously, that trade has been smashing it, and you see companies like Google up $300 billion market cap in a day. And so I do expect AI to continue to do really, really well, and investors continue to pour more money into AI companies. But some will also flow into Bitcoin and crypto and Ethereum, etc. And because the market caps are so low, it doesn't actually take that much money coming into these for them to do, your 5, your 10x. So I think it is all going to work out. But keep an eye on that. I mean, there's a lot of people, they've actually left crypto, moved everything over in the stock market, moving into AI. And that's a trend to continue to watch. I don't know if you have any thoughts on that, where you think AI ends up, Bitcoin ends up, and how they end up interplaying off each other. But it's a trend to look out for.
Yeah, I mean, I think AI is going to do well over the long term. I think the easy money in that rotation is already done. The reason I say that is, so we do manage accounts with crypto PCG, whether it's crypto accounts or stock accounts. And we just got a new account, a 28-year-old woman, out on her own now, just bought her first house, got her first car, put $30,000 in a stock portfolio, wants some exposure to crypto in there, AI in there, etc. And when I went through, like, hey, what's your investment thesis? What's your investment goals? Long term, which is great. Wants to take some risk, which is great. But the first thing she literally said is interested in AI space, and I have about 3 or 4 AI companies that I want to put at least 10% of this money into. When that happens, a lay person, a 25-year-old girl who works for a dealership, who's putting her first investment capital to work that outside her day job, and the first thing she says is she lists me 3 or 4 AI companies that she wants to directly invest in, that means that's a cycle top. That doesn't mean that those things can't go higher, but the FOMO euphoria rotation into those, the easy money has already been made. That is retail FOMO. That is retail chasing. This is like I said, 25-year-old young woman who never invested on her own outside what the company does. So I think that rotation, or crypto money chasing that, isn't happening anymore, or is going to greatly slow down, and the easy money's already gone. Why is that? Well, crypto's already greatly undervalued compared to the AI trade. AI already had a major blow off top, and you're starting to see some pundits fearing what the future could look like. Now, I don't fear that it's going to dump and go to zero, and there's a .com bubble in AI. I just think it's going to be the more that slow growth consolidation period where, yes, they're going to continue to grind higher, but you don't have that parabolic move anymore. You already had that parabolic move.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. You look at what's happening in the stock market right now. I mean, everything is so sensitive to interest rates. And now with this 94% probability of a cut, The Russell 2000 is starting to outperform, right? Those are the low cap stocks listed on the Russell Stock Exchange, right? The low, smaller companies, and they're ultra sensitive to interest rates, just as crypto. And so, yeah, I think the big AI companies, look, they're going to do fine. They're going to get you your 8 or 9% a year. Probably have some corrections along the way. But Google, Nvidia, Meta, these are good. These are great companies. Some of the best companies of all time in terms of how much money they make. So they'll make their 8 or 9%. But if you're looking for outperformance, because remember, 8, 9%, I mean, the sad thing about it is that only barely beats inflation. The crazy thing about that. So you have to look for a little bit of additional risk, in my view. And whether that's low cap stocks, whether that's some altcoins like Ethereum, whether that's even Bitcoin, I think you're going to end up outperforming the likes of Google and Nvidia at this stage in the cycle. But yeah, I think everything is still going to go higher, even those big cap AI plays.
AI also does, effectively help some crypto plays. We can maybe get another AI season like we saw about a year ago. We made a lot of money on the AI season with the RLC, and we see, Track and some of these other Render, GPU. Those are all the big plays back then. But also can help Ethereum, because inevitably some of these projects are going to be built on Ethereum, and you need ETH with these upgrades more now than ever. And layer 2s are going to stop siphoning all the economic power. And we've talked about this consolidation before the move higher. During Thomas Lee's presentation, he talked about how long we've been consolidating and what that can mean for upside objectives of Ethereum. I just want to touch base on this a bit because, there's some doubt in the markets of what's going to happen here. But this goes with everything that we've saying. If Ethereum has not had a new all-time high in 5 years, but it's the second largest crypto asset of all, if it doesn't break out and make a meaningful move, the entire crypto industry and blockchain industry is really cooked, because this cycle is effectively over, according to some people, on the 4-year cycle, and we still haven't had a new all-time high for Ethereum. Bitcoin only did a 2x. BNB did like 50% over its previous all-time high. That's about it. Solana, $100 more than its all-time high. I mean, those are crazy numbers for a full-blown alt season or Bitcoin season, crypto cycle to be fully over. But I see it like this, where we're just in this big consolidation. It's a 5-year cycle instead of 4, so the true breakout, the true mania phase has not happened yet. And they're really, for the past 5 years, how many times have we had meme coins, altcoins, retail coming into the market to chase those? Like 2 months out of the past 5 years? Very little, and that is very odd, but that is because prices have not done anything, and that's why I think that the market cycle is still well underway, and the most euphoric part is coming.
The longer the consolidation, normally the bigger the upside move, right? And now we're sitting at multiple years of ETH basically just consolidating here. And, I don't know if it does the multiples that it did, 90 to nearly 5,000, whatever that
Probably
is.
not. We don't need it to. Let's just do a 10x.
But, I mean, hell, Tom Lee's kind of conservative target for the top on ETH for this cycle, and I think that doesn't mean by the end of this year. That means the cycle, right, which we know is an elongated cycle, is $12,000. So that's 4x your money basically from this price point on. I mean, outside of Bitcoin, what's a lower risk crypto? There is none. There is no lower risk crypto investment than Ethereum other than Bitcoin. So you're looking at a 4x potential upside if Tom Lee and his quants are right this cycle with relatively little risk. Where else are you going to find 400% returns in the market in the next 12 months on a highly liquid asset that's, actually useful, generates yield, Wall Street's bought in, tokenization, future, probability of it doing well is high as well. I mean, I just, in terms of risk to reward, I don't see a better risk-adjusted investment right now than Ethereum.
Yeah, I mean, we've been saying that for quite a while. I showed you the ETH to Bitcoin chart, and that's where I said I think Ethereum is going to outperform Bitcoin. It just has been lagging too much. It's got too much fundamentals going, too much macros, too many tailwinds that are coming. And so far, I've been spot on with that. It's up 95% against Bitcoin, even with it sitting here at $3,000. And I'm sitting here telling you I think the cycle continues into next year. So if we can get even close to the previous high on ratios, that's where you get those crazy Ethereum numbers of $20,000, $22,000, $35, or even higher, depending on where you think Bitcoin actually finally tops out at.
Glad you pulled up the Fusaka infographic. I haven't actually taken a look at this specific infographic, but the Fusaka upgrade went through flawlessly on December 3rd, I believe it was. It actually is a major upgrade, the biggest one since Pectra. And there's going to be another big upgrade coming here in January. So Ethereum is not slowing down with these upgrades. The biggest thing I think for Fusaka from a price performance standpoint is that now all these L2s, which were essentially kind of freeloading off of like the Ethereum L1 blockchain, they're now forced to pay for that blob space, as I understand it. And in doing so, that is going to greatly accelerate the burns of Ethereum. And there is speculation, which I actually agree with, that in the not too distant future, Ethereum will go back to being actually deflationary, meaning there will be more tokens being burned than issued to stakers. Right now, I think actually, if you look at the inflation on Ethereum, it's still less than Bitcoin, believe it or not. But it still is inflationary by a little bit. But let's get to the point where it's deflationary and yield bearing and useful and still sitting at sub $500 billion total FDV. Wow, what an investment opportunity.
Yeah, I'm not going to go through this whole chart, but if you guys want to, you can go over Snap Crackle. It's pretty small, but you can kind of read up if you want to know more about Fusaka. But those are all very good points. And the biggest point to it is when Ethereum has ran in the past, it's due to retail FOMO, altcoins, and builders, because all of them need a little bit of ETH for transaction fees. You hold some Ethereum, you're burning Ethereum, you're staking Ethereum, and then that supply shock happens, and that's when ETH absolutely surges. Now, what could happen this time? And we've been speculating on it, and it just hasn't happened because retail isn't here and the activity on chain hasn't been here. But now that these layer 2s are going to be paying, which is going to be burning more Ethereum, and you're going to have the likes of Bitmine and Sharplink Gaming having 10% of the total Ethereum supply and staking it, hodling all the rewards, that drastically reduces the potential sell pressure of inflation as well. So I think this could be a big storm where if retail comes back like it has in previous cycles, now you're going to have a large portion of the total supply being staked and compounded by these DATs and traditional finance, by the Ethereum spot ETFs, etc., which could create the biggest supply shock that Ethereum's really ever seen in history.
You know what would be really interesting to see, too, because of Fusaka and these further upgrades, of course, Ethereum itself, the L1, has become much faster and much cheaper than ever before. I mean, I was running transactions the other day, just doing, I forget what I was doing, but I think I paid like 6 cents, 7 to 8 cents to run a transaction on Ethereum. And I know, obviously, look, that's also due in part to the fact that there isn't as much activity on chain. But, I mean, if you look at stable coins, if you look at some of the DeFi stuff, I mean, there is still a lot of activity. It's not zero. Could we now then see a sort of a meme season or a retail alt season where builders say, you know what? Solana was cool, this, that, the other thing was cool, but ETH, there's been zero downtime. There's more whales over there. It's easier to use. It's easier to onboard normies. Coinbase, MetaMask, all the major infrastructure sort of providers in the space are much more Ethereum centric. I'm actually going to decide to deploy my altcoin and my product on Ethereum again rather than a Solana. Do you see that playing out this cycle?
I mean, it could, because that is usually what happens when Ethereum fees are cheap, and it makes sense that's where the liquidity is at, so people deploy there. And then as it gets more and more expensive later in the cycle, that's when you start deploying on layer 2s for the the cheaper fees or better opportunity to grab a bigger piece of the pie. So that would be nice to see, because that would say, on that phase chart that we usually look at, that, hey, maybe we are in phase 2 or phase 2.5. It really is Ethereum season. That's where all the hype is. That's where all the innovation is. And you might need to count layer 2s into Ethereum season this time around, because they'll actually be benefiting the mother chain versus leeching off it like it has the past 4 or 5 years.
Yeah, I'd love to see it. I mean, my few conviction plays, altcoins, like low cap altcoins, that I've just held on to because, I'm a loyal guy and I don't want to give up on these communities and the founders and so on, are both on Ethereum. Kai being one of them. That is a meme coin, a dog meme coin, in the same vein as like a Shib, a Kishu Inu, sort of part of that family of the Japanese Inus. Kai is the last of the Japanese Inus, so I love that narrative. Of course, grown very fond with the community. Shout out to Rob, RG, TJ. All you guys have been great. grinding in and out. I mean, my God, how many times could a Kai given up over the years, but still kept at it. So still have my Kai bag on Ethereum, right? Still love that one. And then the other one is Mello. I've known the founder, Phil, for, God, probably going on a decade now. Almost have been in crypto together. Great guy. I know he's been through a lot too. That's been, ups and downs, and they've built some great products and a lot of, hardship due to the fact that the market's been dead, basically, and it's hard to sell a raid bot, and it's hard to sell a volume bot when there's no alt season and stuff. But they've kept at it, and that community's been great too. Both of those are on Ethereum. Both of those are on Ethereum. And so I really do hope that we have an ETH season here at some point. The whales start piling back into the low cap gems, the likes of Kai, the likes of Mello. And those are my two low cap plays that I've held on to. Moon or dust, baby.
There we go. I gave them a shout out. I showed both their Twitter, so if you guys want to zoom in on that and pause that, you can go ahead and do that. And then the last little bit of Ethereum news before we get to 2 Bitcoin news pieces is, yes, we need retail demand. That's what spurs FOMO on altcoins. But the big banks, the governments, the institutions are still positioning and choosing the Ethereum blockchain, which at some point is going to send it higher. It has to send it higher. My gosh, how are we sitting here at $3,000? On breaking news, $125 billion is migrating to Ethereum. UBS, the Société Générale Banque de France. How's my French doing? I learned it in high school like 25 years ago. Three pillars of traditional finance just made the move. They are porting repo markets, the engine of global liquidity, on-chain via Ethereum. No tests, no white papers, real collateral, real settlement, real capital. The global repo market is $12.5 trillion. Just 1% equals $125 billion. Deployment has begun. This isn't DeFi versus TradFi. This is TradFi uploading itself to Ethereum. In 2019, they mocked smart contracts. In 2020, they ignored DeFi. Man, that DeFi summer was glorious. Made a lot of money there. In 2025, they're rewriting global finance on open rails, and that is on the Ethereum blockchain. If you're doing stuff on the Ethereum blockchain, that means inevitably you have to own at least a little bit of Ethereum because why? You need it for transaction fees. So, I mean, here is a France migrating billions of dollars over to the Ethereum blockchain, testing it out, making it work with the potential to onboard trillions of dollars to the Ethereum blockchain as it is proven to be the best solution for what they are doing within their banking system.
Yeah, shout out to ChatGPT for writing that tweet. But by the way, it's not hard to tell when a tweet or a post uses AI, by the way, guys. Maybe we'll do a whole tutorial on that if you haven't figured it out. There are tells there. But anyway, it's valid information, I assume. It's just that was written by AI. When you look at traditional finance, there is no other chain. There really is no other chain other than Ethereum that traditional finance is going to adopt and use. Ethereum has won that battle, period. They're not going to go to Solana. It's too bundled. One VC owns like 40% of the supply. It goes down every, couple months. There's downtime on Solana. The L2s, why would you use the L2 if you just use the L1? It's much more secure, much more decentralized. You're not going to go to the Chinese version, BNB chain. Sorry, CZ. He owns 64% of the supply. Way too much risk there. So if you're a financial institution, if you're looking to deploy stable coins, if you're looking to tokenize assets, tokenize real estate, tokenize whatever, you're going to Ethereum. That's it. Ethereum won. They won that battle. So take the information what you will. Do with it what you will. I know everyone's still salty. Oh, it's only $3,000. But you know what's been happening over the past 2 years? What people have to understand, because they look at it like, oh, Ethereum was $3,000 a year or two ago, or Bitcoin was $90,000 this time last year. There's been no progress made whatsoever. Well, actually, if you look at it, Bitcoin, because I don't have the numbers off the top of my head for Ethereum, but if you look at Bitcoin, something like $500 billion of Bitcoin has been sold from the early whales and the early buyers into the hands of the new buyers. And it's still at 90,000? You guys don't consider that progress? You guys don't consider that the next springboard, the next floor for the next move higher? Just because price didn't move didn't mean progress wasn't made, guys. So, yeah, just think long term. We're in a good spot.
And that's a function of current retail. So the only retail in the market have been net sellers. That's not saying that everybody here is selling or nobody's making gains and rotating it into large caps. It just means net sellers. The retail here has been exhausted. You've had to sell probably some of your crypto to pay real life bills. You've had to do a car payment. You had to buy a wedding ring. You have OG whales selling billions of Bitcoin because, quote, they don't know if it's a 4-year cycle, a 5-year cycle, but they want to create and lock in generational wealth and be able to sleep well up for the next 2 years in case it is a bear market, which makes a lot of sense. If you have 10 billion worth of Bitcoin that you spent 50 grand on and you can cash in 9 billion and keep $1 billion exposure to Bitcoin in case it does go to 1 million, you're sleeping pretty well at night. So the retail that is currently in the market have been net sellers. We need to get new retail that are new net buyers and get the current retail that's here a little more comfortable, meaning green candles. So when they're taking some profits to pay real life bills, they still have a massive underlying there. You can't trade and make easy gains and speculate on degen plays and roll over profits into Bitcoin and ETH if everything is just down and to the right, and Pulse Chain's all-time lows, and ADA got crushed off of some FUD, and Ethereum's still $3,000 after 5 years. You gotta get on board some new people. That's why it is crazy that we are holding these prices when current retail is net sellers, no new retail coming in, but the institutions are the ones just sucking all of this coins up, and they're not going to be held or get stuck holding the bag, in my opinion. And that's why I think we go higher. Remember, I mean, Thomas Lee has these quants and DeMark and all that, and they're buying 50,000 a week, trying not to impact Ethereum price because they know they want to try to buy 5% of the total supply before this thing really moves.
You know what's crazy too? It's not as if there's just a lack of money out there in the world. I think that's a misconception. A lot of degens and average everyday retail folks, they believe that because they're struggling. I mean, hell, a lot of us are struggling after, God, you know, if you've been in crypto full time for the past how many years, you're struggling too. So a lot of people are struggling. But the fact of the matter is there's, I think now over $8 trillion in money markets just sitting there earning 4% or so. That's a lot of money, guys. There's a ton of money in equities. Hundreds of trillions sitting in equities. So yeah, maybe Tom, Dick, and Jane down the street, you know, they're up to their eyeballs in debt. You know, they're trying to take their kids to Disneyland. You're maxing out the credit cards. You know, their truck payments, $2,000 a month. Yeah, they're cooked. They're absolutely, those guys are cooked. But there are rich people out there. There is money out there. And when the interest rates decrease and their money market can't earn that much, and you start to see a sell-off on the big AI companies, you start to see a sell-off on gold, money starts flowing into low caps in the Russell 2000s, capital looks for those lower priced opportunities to buy in. I guess my point is this, guys. Have some faith. It is not over. This market will grind higher. We need the Fed to step in, and they will, and money will flow from money markets and equities into the risk assets.
Let's talk about some Bitcoin stuff and where Bitcoin money is going to come from, because Bitcoin does still lead the market. We need to see Bitcoin at least get to new all-time highs. We don't need Bitcoin to go to 500,000 for us to all to get filthy rich, guys. We need Bitcoin to go to like 150, and we're going to have an alt season. But I think it's going to go to 244,000 because that's what I've been saying. But 180,000 is kind of the sentiment and would make sense for trajectories. This is what happened. Larry Fink went from saying Bitcoin was terrible and he would never invest in it to admitting and actually pivoting on stage in front of the world that he is switching up his tune, and he's been an evangelist for Bitcoin for a while now. This is why I have respect for him, and I think JP Morgan's, whatever the fuck his name is, Diamond, is a scumbag. Because he is able to pivot, give reasons for a pivot, and then evangelize the very sector in which he is promoting to his clients. He's not just trying to look at clients to make a dollar. He's actually saying what reasons why, hey, this is why this is revolutionary. This is why it's trending this way. I'm going to get on stage. I'm going to talk about it. He actually is doing his research. Anyways, he is saying that top wealth managers, top fund managers are not fading Bitcoin. They're not selling Bitcoin. They're not upset that Bitcoin's in the 80s. They're actually taking this opportunity to buy more Bitcoin because it is a hedge for a long-term investment. So they're happy it went down in the 90s. They bought more. They're happy it went into the 80s. They're buying more. They're not fading. They're not panic selling. They're taking this opportunity to reduce their cost basis, continue to DCA, and look for higher prices, not in 5 years and 10 years from now. That's great, but they think next year, 2 years, 3 years, that Bitcoin is going to be higher. So it is good to see. This is what is holding up Bitcoin's price, and why I think it was a normal 35% drawdown during a bull move, is you have Larry Fink going out here saying, hey, we're seeing sovereign wealth funds buying the dip on Bitcoin each and every day. New sovereign wealth funds that wanted to be in Bitcoin but didn't want to chase it at 120,000, now getting involved at the 80,000s and trying to accumulate as much as they can before the inevitable all-time high.
Yeah, Wall Street's all in on Bitcoin. It's funny. It was, I think, 4 institutions over the course of a week sort of all decided together we're going to embrace Bitcoin. Obviously, BlackRock's been out in front of it. But we had Fidelity announce, okay, in 26 you'll be able to buy Bitcoin and Ethereum through Fidelity, I believe it was. Vanguard was another huge one. Vanguard's huge for retail. They're opening up Bitcoin ETF and I believe Ethereum ETF very soon here as well. And even the hated JP Morgan, funding Bitcoin, funding MicroStrategy. Well, they announced a product, a Bitcoin-based debt product that's going to be going live here soon as well, which, by the way, if Bitcoin is at a certain price, I think like 160,000 within 12 months from now, JP Morgan makes a bunch of money off of that product. So guess what they're going to try to engineer in a year from now. So in a course of like a week, you had all these major Wall Street institutions just embracing Bitcoin, allowing their retail clients to buy it. I mention Bank of America also in that little spiel. Should mention Bank of America. All of it come together, course of a week. And of course, Bitcoin sitting at 80,000. You got retail panicking out, Wall Street buying in. I'll stick with the smart money. With the smart money this time.
Here's the newest one. Banking giant BBVA to launch Bitcoin buying and selling across all of Europe. And it's just trading. It doesn't mean like, it's going to moon up. But now it's going to be legal and more accessible for people using BBVA accounts to buy and sell Bitcoin. Which means if they don't own any, maybe they want to buy it and hold it, which takes supply off the open market. And what's interesting is you said all of those things happened the last week. Well, what else happened in the past week? I mean, this is why this is laughable when you guys panic. Look what happened in the past 2 weeks. That's the exact low. Isn't it ironic that they all turned super bullish? They're all going to make money. They're going to turn on ways for you to get invested in the best asset class at lows. That is by design, guys. They if they can pay 80,000, 85,000, 90,000 for Bitcoin that they're going to then sell to you or make fees off of you, that's a lot better and a lot easier pitch for them versus, telling you to get involved at the highs of 126 and 130,000, because it is much easier for you to make money down here, which means you're happy, you're hunky-dory, you're putting more money in and they're making more fees than them telling you to buy all-time highs, you having a little volatility, and then you being down, not wanting to put more money in, withdrawing from the accounts, and they have no more AUM and no more fees to make off of you. That's how the world of finance works in the traditional markets. And that really is how it works here at Crypto Paradise. This is why sometimes when we look at alts, we're like, we can't really tell you to chase here, because we understand if we tell you to chase here, we lose money, you lose money, we lose your viewership, you're not happy, nobody's happy. It's much easier to buy dips and hope for glory than it is to buy tops and hope you don't get dumped on.
You know who's also been buying the dip? We had a little spiel on this last week, talking about nation state FOMO. I don't know if you have the story about it. I think it's the UAE, Qatar. I don't know. I always get these, Middle Eastern countries confused. Are they states? Are they countries? What are they? Are they just oil? Just like oil-rich pieces of land with kings? I don't know. It doesn't matter. 500 million though purchased, I believe, an ETF. I believe it was Qatar going all in $500 million worth of Bitcoin recently purchased, and they're not done. They're trying to position their country as Bitcoin friendly, crypto friendly. You don't have to pay taxes. Come over to my country, set up a residency here, build a Bitcoin business here. Hey, Binance, come on over, register here in Dubai. It's all hunky dory. Everyone gets a Lamborghini as soon as they pass through customs. So follow the money, follow the rich people. Wall Street's buying, the Arabs are buying, and Tom, Dick, and Jane down the street are panic selling because the price had a standard 35% correction in the bull market. Shaking my head.
Yeah, I'm not sure which one of those countries, but I just type in UAE Bitcoin, and UAE does now own 6,500 Bitcoin worth $700 million. and they're continuing to accumulate. That is facilitated by the Abu Dhabi's royal family. I mean, imagine that. The rich. You talk about the 1% here in America. The 1% in those countries. Holy cow. There's a massive gap. I will say, in some of the good countries over there, the good Muslim countries like Abu Dhabi, or Qatar, UAE, Dubai, etc., it looks pretty nice. Crime is very low because why? They actually punish their criminals over there. I'll tell you what, we need a little of that here in the United States. And the streets are clean. The wealth are wealthy. I will say, if you're an average Joe over there, you do feel like a peasant, but you are living a good life. Driving a Lambo while still feeling poor doesn't sound like all a bad gig.
The main problem with those countries is that, look, if you're a citizen of those countries, I mean, dude, you don't even have to work. You just get paid to not even work. You have like these civil service jobs. You show up, you jerk off for an hour and you get paid like a massive salary and you go home to your beautiful family and you're living the dream. Okay? That's if you're a citizen. If you're not a citizen, you're doing all the menial labor. You're building like the giant high rises, or you're driving people around, and you can watch documentaries of this stuff. They're living in squalor. They're living in terrible conditions. They're living in these tiny little not even apartments. They're like makeshift homes. I mean, so yeah, I'm sure. Look, if you're an American, you come in, you're like, I'm gonna invest $10 million. It's a different story. But if you're coming from like, I don't know, Indonesia or something, to be like an Uber driver in Dubai, yeah, no, that ain't it. That ain't it. So, we got to tell it how it is. We're delivering you unvarnished truth here. But yeah, certainly I'd rather be in one of those countries than some of the other countries around there. Those countries are a mess. But we got Frank in the house. Let's give some shout outs to everyone before we go on more tangents here. Shout out to Jay. Thank you for joining up. Martin, hello, good morning. Good morning to Todd. Remember to like, share, subscribe. CZ and the cartel manipulating again, according to Frank. I actually haven't seen too many stories about that this past week, because it feels like the price is going up. Or maybe they're manipulating up now. Wouldn't that be nice?
Yeah,
and then no outsiders can be citizens. That is right. That's absolutely true, right? You can't become so you can work there, you can live there, but you're not going to get the benefits. You're not going to get the free money that like the native Dubai people get. So it is what it is. Sometimes you're born lucky. Sometimes you're born in a shitty place. What can we do?
The only story I've really seen of CZ is he did debate Peter Schiff, and he did meet Michael Saylor for the first time in person as well. So CZ's out there, regardless of what you think they're doing, whatever. CZ is out there putting up a good fight. Remember, he went to jail for you, essentially. He really did. So, this is CZ replying to me. I replied to him after seeing a clip here. Can you be the man to finally drag Peter Schiff over the Bitcoin finish line? I honestly don't know. He is stubborn, and it's not his first day into Bitcoin. So many people have told him the message I would/could tell him. So from that perspective, no win. But we are actually friends now, so that's a small win. I said small victory indeed, blah, 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 blah. I don't think Peter Schiff can pivot at this point because he's been so anti-Bitcoin for so long. And really his whole career is selling his clients and his community gold investments. So if he was to pivot, that would really crush his business that he's currently had and really kind of betray the community that he's built. So I don't think he can ever fully publicly pivot, but I think behind closed doors he is pivoting. He does use the Bitcoin community for eyes and for clicks, and he does now have a public address in which you can donate Bitcoin to him for his retirement account. So I don't think he's fully pivot, but this is the best part, or the best clip that I've seen out of the debate that he had with Peter Schiff. And that was CZ getting a gold bar from Kazakhstan or one of those countries, in which CZ went over there and actually got the small country to set up a Bitcoin strategic reserve and a BNB strategic reserve, and they're starting to buy Bitcoin and BNB. In return for that favor, that country gave him a gold bar. Now what's funny here is CZ had this gold bar. Oh man, it's all fancy. It's got a serial number of ways. It's shiny rock. Oh my gosh, here you go, Peter Schiff. Peter Schiff's like, oh wow, nice, that's amazing. And then CZ set him up and said, now, is that real gold? And that is part of one of the biggest cons for gold is it real? I don't know. But if you send me Bitcoin to my Bitcoin address and it shows BTC in there, it has to be real. Otherwise, it wouldn't work. So CZ trolling Peter Schiff there a little bit, and the crowd absolutely ate this up. Now, I do believe, hey, this is from the government. I believe this is real gold. But the fact that Peter Schiff fumbled, bumbled, and couldn't tell you one way or the other whether it's real or not, and he literally held it up to his watch and was like, well, the color's kind of similar. That's all you need to know of why we live in a digital world. We need a digital gold, and why the physical rock is no longer what it used to be.
What an incredible viral moment from CZ. Brilliant play, brilliant setup. Absolutely love it. And yeah, look, I agree. Peter Schiff will never convert over to Bitcoin from gold. His whole brand, his whole identity, his whole business is selling and wrapped up around gold, and that's fine. That would be like Crypto Amaru or Crypto Hitman saying, you know what, guys? We're over Bitcoin, we're over ETH, we're over alts, we're over this industry, we're going all in on gold. Or we're going all in. It just ain't going to happen. Like, when you believe in something fervently to your core, you stick with it. And I respect that. I respect that. So, you know, I don't think gold's a good investment. I think, you know, how old Peter Schiff in his 70s? He doesn't look that young. He doesn't look that young. Eventually, Peter Schiff, God rest his soul, he'll pass on to the next realm, and his kids and his grandkids will be here, having inherited his money. What do you think's more likely? They're going to say, "Yeah, shiny rock. I can't even verify the veracity of it, whether it's real." Or I'm going to prefer the digital version because my entire life is on my phone. I like transporting money instantly over the internet with very little fees, carrying it across borders without having to worry about someone confiscating it, or I'm going to be lugging around heavy yellow rocks. You know, so guys, we're early. $2 trillion asset class in Bitcoin, sub 500 billion for Ethereum. We are early. And after Nick goes, I'll tell you a little story of my experience on the beaches of Tulum that illustrates this point further.
Frank says, pitch him Kaiken in the same conversation. The reason that some of these bigger names follow me and that they actually reply is because I don't pitch them tokens. Obviously, we own tokens. I know we shill all coins. I know we do whatever, but I don't pitch them tokens. Normally, I talk to them about what they're talking about. Been an avid supporter of Bitcoin, Ethereum, BNB from the early days. In this case, for CZ, is BNB and BSC chain. So that's what I message them about, and that's how we get those replies every once in a while, and that's how some of these people follow us. So, you know, I'm not going to shill them individual tokens. That's the quickest way to get unfollowed and them never to reply, because they're at the stage in their career and at their crypto journey where they don't care about altcoins. They care about the bigger pictures, the underlying networks. And yes, CZ will shill indirectly or directly various altcoins when the time comes, but it's, you know, it's not me shilling him Kaiken or some other small coin for that matter. And going back to Peter Schiff, he has already talked about how his kids own more Bitcoin and crypto than they do gold, and how that drives him a little bit crazy. So you were dead spot on. It's been, I don't know where that video clip is. It's been months or maybe years since he did say that in an interview. So yeah, what do you think happens when he leaves all that gold money to his kids? Well, it funnels its way into Bitcoin for sure, especially if Bitcoin's having some green candles, because those kids will have a lot more money than when they first invested in Bitcoin and Ethereum, and they will FOMO in and buy more.
Yep, all it takes is some green candles for the FOMO to come. Good thing Pulse Jiu-Jitsu's here for the tech, so obviously he does not care about the price. Just happy that Fusaka upgrade happened. Happy that, you know, I don't know, Monad launched. Happy about Mega ETH. By the way, I'm bullish on Mega ETH. We should do something on Mega ETH. Bullish on Pulse Chain, maybe on ProveX. By the way, when the hell is a website for ProveX going to come in? Don't get me started on Pulse Chain right now. I'm not happy with, although I'm happy with these green candles a little bit, but I'm not happy with the ProveX thing. I just think he fumbled that one. Yeah, how you going to do all this stuff without a website?
He pretty much did everything. I said, like, hey, the ProveX, I'm going to wait until I see what the details are. But there's, you know, I was on that live show with Corey Costa, and I said there's like 3 things that I think he should not do. And literally 2 hours later, he did all 3 of them. It's kind of funny that a lot of times we talk about these things, and then literally in hours they happen. Is that just good timing of us getting in front of this? Or are they tuning in? I don't know what they're doing. But he didn't accept any of the blue chip core tokens. You know, he's doing this where there's no set launch date of ProveX. He's only accepting outside money, and he's not really using it to help pump the core native network because it's going to be multi-chain as well. Now, he did do a video. I will say, Richard Hart, if you did not tune in, he did do a video a couple days ago. It's about 45 minutes. It makes you understand that he's not giving up on Pulse Chain. He said multiple times, like, hey, we got 1 million of these IRL physical devices that need to still get shipped. When things in marketing isn't working, we pivot and try something new. He tried to explain why he didn't accept core tokens for the phase for ProveX, the sacrifice phase. So he talks about it. At least he's there and he's doing videos. you know, it is what it is. The market didn't like that. It went to new all-time lows. It's since bounced off of that. But literally went to new all-time lows just for PLS. Not for PLSX, not for Inc., not for Hex, not for Surf, not for PTGC, but just for PLS, which did drag some of these prices. So he is there. He is active. He's saying he's going to pivot. He's going to try different things. He still has 1 million devices to go out. And he talked about how if ProveX has success, it's going to help pump these tokens because all the liquidity is going to be on PulseX. It's going to be running on Pulse Network, etc., etc. So, you know. But he has fumbled the bag on Pulse Chain. Pulse Chain has underperformed Ethereum. We want to see it outperform Ethereum. I think PLS is up something like 10% off its all-time low, while Ethereum is up like 85 or 100% off the all-time low. Easy math tells you it's underperforming. So we'll see how that progresses. We're not happy about that. It makes it much harder for Surf, makes it much harder for PTGC, and makes it much harder for some of the other projects that we've helped launch on Pulse, whether that's RhinoFi, Bear AI, UFO, whatever, some of these projects that we support and we advised or whatever. So, shitty situation, but I don't know if you saw that video because you were on the beach, Ian, but at least, at least he did a video and tried to explain himself.
Yeah, no, I didn't watch the whole thing, but I was like, oh, happy to see you do okay, great, that's all positive. You know, and look, I don't think we can beat up on it too much because what chain, whether L2 or L1, not named Ethereum, is doing well right now? Solana's in this shitter. I mean, I know up like all off the lows, it's done great, but in the past 6 months, Solana's way down.
This is ADA for you.
Know, you got Arbitrum out there. You got Monad that just launched, getting crushed. I mean, you go down the list. Every single altcoin not named Ethereum.
Look at Linea.
Look at this Linea chart.
I told you to avoid. Told you to be a seller and avoid it up here. I mean, look at that.
Yeah, so it's like we can bang on Richard Hart, and we will, because we're truth tellers here. We'll give you the good, the bad, the ugly. But the fact of the matter is everything's doing poorly from an altcoin standpoint. So again, it's going to take Fed intervention, QE, risk on, interest rates lower, money flowing into risk assets. Only then will you see what's going to outperform. And look, if, BNB, $2,000, Ethereum, $6,000, okay, and your random altcoin, Mega ETH, I'm bullish on this Mega ETH, by the way. It's sitting at 2 billion FDV, whatever. And then there's Pulse Chain massively underperforming and still doing terribly. Okay, now it's time to really have a come to Jesus moment and figure out what to do next about Pulse Chain. But we ain't there yet, guys. We ain't there yet.
And that's
I don't think he's a scammer. I don't think we got comments here. He's a scammer. No, I don't think he's a scammer. I mean, is there proof that he? I mean, yeah, you launched coins that didn't do well, but if that makes you a scammer, then every single founder in crypto's a scammer at one point or another. Even Satoshi scammed people when Bitcoin, initially launched and it crashed 95%. Oh, scammer!
Yeah, I think the biggest thing too, and what we've always been saying, whether it's Pulse Chain or anything, because really it's been Ethereum and BNB. BNB's done well. BSC had its 3-day meme cycle. We made some money there, then round tripped some of the other money. But other than that, nothing is doing well. And we've been saying since day one, when it comes to Pulse Chain in specific, why do we talk about Pulse Chain more than anything else? It's because we made big gains on PTGC. We have Surf launched over there, etc. We thought it has the most upside potential for any of the layer ones that are recently launched. We always said Ethereum needs to be above $5,000, and then if Ethereum is above $5,000 and Pulse Chain is underperforming, then we will reevaluate our position and make moves. The reason being is it owns $700 million worth of Ethereum. Richard Hart has said many times you don't sell assets for less than you bought them, or people don't like selling assets for less than they bought them. They bought all the Ethereum at $3,700. When it was 4.5K, the Ethereum started moving through Tornado Cash. Looks like it's prepping to pump Pulse Chain, and it was worth $750 million. Then we had the liquidation crisis on October 10th. Ethereum subsequently fell to $2,500. Of course, Richard Hart isn't going to sell that to try to pump a chain when, first of all, there's no retail. There's no alt season. You're going to pump a chain now. You had $750 million. It's worth $325 million. So now your impact is even shorter. That runway's shorter. So none of that makes sense. You need to see Ethereum above 5,000. Altcoins will move, and then we'll pass further judgment on Richard Hart and Pulse Chain if Ethereum's 5,000, 6,000, other things are moving and Pulse Chain's still floundering. That's when it makes sense to pass judgment on it. Again, the only chain that has done well, you can argue, has Ethereum even done well, Crypto Amaru? No new all-time high for 5 years? Not really. BNB is the only chain that's done well. Solana had its meme season, and as soon as Pump Fund started taking $1.5 billion out of the market, it struggled as well. Same thing happened with the Trump token launch because they didn't pair it with Solana, they paired it with USD. People sold their Solana for USD, used their USD to buy Trump token went down, entire chain floundered. So we will pass judgment on all of these chains if and when Ethereum and Bitcoin are at all new all-time highs and they're not making their moves, because that is when they should be making their moves. Pumping out marketing, using foundation money in order to pump their chain, and in the case of Pulse Chain, they have hundreds and hundreds of millions of dollars worth of Ethereum, even at $3,000 price. So when it's 5,000 or 6,000, you're looking at over $1 billion worth of Ethereum. And if at that time they don't deploy to make that chain successful, well, then it is a complete and utter failure. Although the one thing I do agree with Frank is, wow, why would people be sacrificing to ProveX? I don't know. There's like 10 or 11 million, which is very small compared to the Pulse Chain sacrifice. So a lot of people are either broke or learn their lesson, or they're going to wait for ProveX to launch and then try to make a trade on it, which is what we've really decided to do. We're saying, hey, I don't really want to sacrifice to this. A, don't really need to do it. We could probably buy it at launch or after launch. And B, we don't really have the funds to do it because a lot of Pulse Chain assets are down and to the right.
And C, what the fuck is it? You don't even have a website. You don't have a product out. To my knowledge, I could be. I was away for a week. I haven't really been paying attention. But last I looked, there was no website. Last I looked, there was no product that anyone has used. Last I looked, no one really knows what the hell that it does. Some sort of privacy Uniswap? Who knows? Like, dude, if, we advise a lot of projects, right? First thing we tell people, if a project comes to us and they're like, got this great idea, bro, check out my pitch deck. I got the Twitter rocking and rolling. Look at the Telegram. I'm like, oh, dude, where's your website? I'm like, oh yeah, we haven't done the website yet. It's like, are you serious? You haven't done the website yet? That's like, that's your face. The website's got to look great. The better the website, the higher the valuation. Crypto's a simple place. This is a retail-driven market. You got a sexy-looking website? Well, your project's worth $100 more million than it is if you had a shitty website or no website. So get a damn website. Get the product out there. Look at Pump Fund, and we shit on Pump Fund all the time. But look at Pump Fund. They didn't do a token launch or raise any money until their product was not only out, but had tremendous traction and success. Why would you not go in that direction? Richard Hart, launch the product, get traction, get users, get people excited, then raise it $1 billion valuation. But anyway, enough about that. Our hope and our expectation is that Pulse Chain will eventually outperform, but it is going to take alt season for that to happen. So enough about that. I do want to talk to you guys about the trip I was just on. A couple things. You may notice I'm a little bit tanned. It was about 85 degrees and sunny every day. Every single day in Tulum, Mexico. The weather is perfect. Guys. I know we're giving away free nights. Giving them away. You hit me up. You say, hey, Crypto Amru, you join the Telegram. First of all, join the DAO. Get yourself 200,000 served. Hit me up. I want to take my wife, my kids, my mistress down to Tulum because it's cold as shit and it's snowing. And I heard you're giving away free nights to your condo. Yes, it's true. We are doing that. So, hit us up. I think it's madness that no one's doing this. But anyway, I was just down there for a week with my family. Absolutely wonderful. Recorded a lot of content. Had a lot of fun. It was great. One new bit of content that I've decided to want to start doing. I had an epiphany when I was down there. Why not go up and down the beach of Tulum? It's like this giant beach, right? There's people walking all over. Girls are hot as shit. Like it's just paradise. And ask them, what's your thoughts on Bitcoin? You love it? You hate it? You think it's a scam? You know nothing? What are your thoughts? So I did this with, 3, 4, 5 people. Only one guy actually had a meaningful response indicating that he even knew what Bitcoin was. And his advice, actually, the video is going to drop soon. His advice was, if you have Bitcoin, just hold it. And I was like, yeah, this guy's the man. But the 3 or 4 or 5 other people, this woman, her response was like, Tulum is great. I was like, the question's about Bitcoin. Another guy was like, live your life. So you just read, like, guys, vast majority of people, I think 90 to 95% of humanity doesn't even know what Bitcoin even is. Think about the upside potential of something like that. An asset that almost nobody owns yet. Think about the potential of that. And then ask yourself, why are you selling for peanuts? So, yeah, I'm going to go down there again soon. I'm going to find more hot women to ask questions about Bitcoin. That is my new mission in life.
Bequito says, damn, this pad is dope. Yeah, it's a pretty nice spot. I've been there now, I think, 3 times. Once just me and Crypto Amaru. Another time my wife came down with me with Crypto Amaru and his family. And a third time it was me, Crypto Amaru, and Nate down there, and my wife came as well. So pretty nice, and always have a good time on this rooftop pool up here. The condos are nice. You got this is the rooftop where we've done live shows and where we saw Crypto Amaru live from. And then the beach is literally 5 to 10 minutes away, and you can get access to all the different various beach clubs just by saying, you're part of a condo or whatever it may be. Or they might be like, all right, you can come in, but you got to spend $50 or whatever it is on food and drinks.
Yeah, man, it's an absolute paradise down there. Great to just step away from the charts. You know what I mean? Take a little vacation. I mean, I know for myself, like, I made some funny videos, kind of like making fun of Bitcoin price up or down, but then like I don't care. And the truth is that you don't really care that much when you're on vacation. So I'm serious, guys. If you're feeling down in the dumps and it's cold and prices are down or whatever the case may be, we're giving away free vacation. What other influencer or whatever you want to call this channel is actually allowing you to stay in their condo somewhere? Is Crypto Ran giving away free nights to? I mean, I'm sure he's got multiple homes. Don't think he's giving away anyone free access to his places. How about Benjamin Cowan? Benjamin Cowan, are you giving away free nights to your multiple homes? No. No one else is doing this. So I don't know. I guess you don't have to take me up on it. I guess you can just stay in the cold and not go on a free vacation. It's up to you. But the option is there. Ultimately, my point is, walk around the beach of Tulum. Almost nobody even knew what Bitcoin is. Crazy.
Yeah, the numbers are what they say, where the adoption curve is, how many wallets there are. I think a lot of that is skewed to the upside because ask yourself, how many crypto wallets do you have? You probably have a Coinbase account, which has a wallet. Then you might have a Binance account or an MEXC. Those have wallets. Then you have a MetaMask that probably has 5 or 10 wallets. And then those wallets apply to multiple different networks. So it's like, okay, my one MetaMask wallet has 10 different networks, so they're counting that as 10 wallets. So that's why I think the adoption curve is still very much earlier than people assume. Just because a lot of people have been here for a long time. You have wallets that you even forgot you have. Or you have wallets that you dusted everything. You don't even use it anymore because the wallet feature doesn't even work anymore. But on the blockchain, that still counts as a wallet. So that's what we see in the real life. And that's what Crypto Amaru was talking about. And then while we're here on the website, we do see, even though prices are down, everything sucks in the market, Pulse chain volume is dried up. Still slowly but surely, Surf token is being burnt off the market, now down to 3.73% of the total supply has been burnt out of the Surf market forever, and expect this to continue. Obviously, volume does its thing. We have some projects that buy and burn Surf on Pulse chain, so if any of those find success, that burn number will creep up drastically. And if the market shifts and Crypto Paradise figures out how to make more revenue, or Frontier Fund starts winning again, or whatever it may be, a lot of that is used to buy and burn the Surf token or add LP, which will continue to keep Surf alive. So we're not giving up on anything. The system continues to work, whether price sucks, volume sucks, everything sucks. The system keeps working for you. Your Surf bags continue to grow incrementally by the day. The amount of burns continue to grow incrementally by the day. And at some point, the price will continue to grow incrementally by the day as well.
It feels like we're at that stage in the market. They say it's always darkest before the dawn. It's like we're at the end of this QT sort of, rate hiking cycle. I know they've cut rates a couple times, but it hasn't really trickled yet into risk assets for the most part. And everything's just been kind of grinding down. Eventually, it runs the end of 2019. Same story, grinding down. Eventually, Fed intervenes, steps in, QT, followed by the QE, and then boom, you have the upside. So we're in that, like, the end, I think the end of that, and, like, volumes are low, sentiment's super low. We had, fear, max fear was like a week ago. I think we're up to like 15 or 20. It's still very fearful out there. So it's just darkest before the dawn. We've been in a tough spot. We're in a tough spot. But better times ahead, guys. Better times ahead, especially if you hit us up and you head down to Tulum. Martin, I'm looking at you, buddy. He's here for the thongs. Here for the promised thongs. I'll tell you this, guys. I don't know what happened in the past, 3, 4, 5 years, but nobody wears normal bathing suits anymore. Nobody. Like, obviously, the super hot chicks in their 20s with great bodies, they're always going to wear the revealing stuff. That's okay. That's been a thing. But now you're looking at, like, the 50-year-old moms. like you got, like, the one fat chick on Tulum Beach. Like fucking everybody is wearing thongs. Like, there's no normal bathing suits anymore. So if you're looking for thongs on hot girls, on not hot girls, everyone in between, I suggest you go down to Tulum. And if you are a woman and you're thinking about wearing a normal bathing suit, don't even bother. Don't even bother. People will look at you. What are you doing? Why are you so covered up?
What's funny is, too, you're talking about, people checking out, and it feels like a grind. Viewership on channels, not just Crypto Paradise, is down as well, which is really indicative that people are having to step away, or they're tuning out, or they've sold out the lows. I'm looking at Randy Hipper. She used to be the Miss Teen Crypto. She normally has like 250 while we're live because she does a live show around the same time. Right now, she has 111. Crypto Paradise, we're usually in the 200s. Right now, we have 151. Bitcoin Ben, usually, above 100 at least. He's at 60. You have Discover Crypto, who has, I think, 250,000 followers. Is at 497, not even eclipsing 500. Usually they're above 1,000. And you have Cointelegraph at 5.6K. Normally they're closer to 10,000. So it just shows you where we're at in the market. A, there's not a lot of excitement or dopamine. There's not much to talk about outside of Bitcoin and Ethereum, which drives viewership down. B, people may have panic sold the lows. Or C, people are so down and depressed they're not even checking in. They don't think they're missing anything because the markets are doing nothing, and they're not completely wrong. But we're seeing this in viewership numbers, not only on Crypto Paradise, but I'm looking at the ones that always go live at the same time as us, and they're all cut in half. I'm actually surprised that we have more viewership than Randy Hipper, because normally she has double what we have.
We are going to outperform Randy Hipper given enough time. I promise you that. I have no idea who Randy Hipper is. I wish her the best, but no one is outworking Crypto Paradise. Okay, guys? We are staying consistent. We are grinding. I don't care if price is up, down, sideways. We will continue to make content. We'll continue to bring you good alpha, good calls, good pre-sales, good investment opportunities. We're here to make money for you guys. Not only that, we're giving away free nights, free vacations. Randy Hipper, you giving away any free vacations? Didn't think so. Didn't think so. Yeah, you guys can become thong experts as well.
All you gotta do is buy 200,000 surf. 200,000 surf, and you can go become a thong expert. And now 200,000 surf is pretty cheap. I don't even know what it is right now. $1,000 bucks.
Yeah, $1,000. By the way, that's about how much 5 nights to the Paradise Pad, if you were to book it on Airbnb, that's about how much it would cost you, at least in the holidays. So there you have it. I want everyone to continue. You got to subscribe to the YouTube and obviously to the X. I have a great video I recorded talking about the bottom is in. The bottom is in, and we have some nice visuals from Tulum Beach showing you the bottom. The bottom is in. The video's not out yet.
Oh, okay, I was like, where's that at? YouTube might ban us for that one.
The bottom is in, and the visuals are there. And so I'm just telling you guys, just make sure you like, share, subscribing, all the stuff. We need your help. We need your guys' help. At least you can do is smash the like button on all the videos. That's not so hard. That's not so hard. Better yet, comment. Hey, great live stream today, guys. Appreciate your this, that, the other. Or, go above and beyond and make some memes like Martin does. That's even better. So everyone can help. Everyone can add value in some way. And that's how we continue to grow the channel. And that's how we'll continue to bring you guys deals, bring you guys pre-sale opportunities, making great content, offering you free vacations. We're all in this together. I know it's, down in the dumps and everyone's just pissed off and no one wants to do anything. But at least you can do is like and comment. That does really help us. So appreciate that. Yeah, thank you for jumping in here, Frank. I know you got regular work to get back to. So appreciate that. Appreciate you there, Todd, as well. Smash like, share, subscribe. I will say this. The engagement on YouTube and the views on YouTube are actually up a lot. So, consistency. Consistency, that's the name of the game. I know it's not easy, especially when the prices are down. But, looks like we got some weird comments here. I'm not going to give that comment a time of day. Anytime you see a comment about a seed phrase, that's a scam. So just ignore that, folks. But anything else to cover today, Nick, before we jump off and get to the rest of the day here?
No, I think that's it. I think we're like, let's just do a quick show, 30 minutes. Now we're here an hour and 10 minutes later. So, I mean, go back and watch it. We didn't look at a lot of TA. We talked about how we bought Ethereum dip thinking it was the bottom. Thomas Lee agrees with us. DeMarc agrees with us. The big banks, Larry Fink agrees with us. And we'll see what happens. The best case scenario right now is a V-shaped recovery, but not in the fact of just God candles to the upside, but just a slow grind that people don't really believe in. That really doesn't get the FOMO, doesn't get the attention, doesn't get the press, because that will be sustainable. Let's get a slow grind up to Ethereum to like 4,000. Then we get the God candle to finally break to new all-time highs for the past 5 years. Then we get the God candle where Bitcoin, instead of making a new high at 115,000, then 120, then 124, then 126, we actually get some meaningful upside and Bitcoin heads towards 135 or 150,000. And we can start having fun again. Start getting you guys some inside alpha, start making money in the altcoins, and start feeling a little better about where the market cycle truly is.
Bitcoin is going to hit $150,000 and higher. When that happens, what the catalysts are, we can all speculate and guess as to what that and when that's going to be. But I promise you guys, $150,000 Bitcoin is in the cards. Your $6,000 or $7,000 ETH is in the cards. Your altcoins finally going up. It's in the cards. It's all dependent on the Fed. It's all dependent on Jerome Powell and to some degree Trump. Let's see if he actually moves forward with this $2,000 stimulus check plan. That would be very, very, very beneficial for risk assets. So a couple of things, outside forces that are outside of anyone's control. But, have some vision. Think ahead. Think long term. Bitcoin, 150,000. It's going to be happening, guys. And we will be here for it. I know you will be here for it. So thank you for tuning in. We'll be back Monday with another live stream. And until then, see you on the beach.